there's all of this effort in a financial commitment to doing this, and then you put that out there for people to hear. So let's say a song is 3 to 4 minutes long. How long are people actually listening to that or watching your video? The average time is 3 seconds. 3 seconds. So 1001, 1002, 1003, they're out. Done. So what are you doing to capture somebody's attention in that amount of time? So you put these reels together that are 15 seconds to a minute long. I was resharing recently over the last couple of days this kind of montage of clips from our video onward that gives a really great flyover view of the song in 1 minute. Most people are only watching that video maybe 10 seconds if you look at the analytics of it. And then one thing that James was talking about, he said, you can put that out there, and then when you talk to your friends in person, they'll say, man, that new song you guys put out, it's amazing. It sounds great. It looks great. Oh yeah, what was your favorite part? Well, I didn't watch the whole thing. You didn't watch the whole thing? Do you go to the movies and buy tickets and buy popcorn and a drink, and you go sit in the movie and you endure the movie previews, the trailers? That can add up to 20 to 30 minutes depending on how much that is. And then you watch the first scene of the movie and then you leave. I saw it. No, you didn't. You didn't watch the movie. So, yeah, as musicians, a lot of us do this for similar reasons, and that is that we're in love with playing music. I don't know many musicians that I've come across with who don't actually love playing music. Now, we all have different tastes. We all have different styles, things like that. I'm not really a Taylor Swift fan, but I can appreciate what she does and her success in what she does. It just doesn't resonate with me. I don't tear it down, but it doesn't resonate with me, so I don't really pay close attention to it. Like I said, I can appreciate it for what it is, but I like Seven Dust. Seven Dust is an extreme polar opposite from Taylor Swift, and Seven Dust isn't everybody else's cup of tea either, but that's something that I really do enjoy, is listening to Seven Dust. But I would say all of us, regardless of our level of success, are in love with the music. So when we put something together and we want to share that with people, I personally hope that people appreciate it and that it resonates with them. So when you come across that friend who they watched your video and they saw 10 seconds of it versus a full minute, or devoting 3.5 minutes of your time to appreciate a song from beginning to end, it seems a little ridiculous that you wouldn't watch that whole thing, this piece of art. So if you go to a museum or a art gallery, now I'm not a art person, so I can't speak intelligently about art in that, I don't know, level of thinking. I'm a drummer, man. I play hard rock music. That's my thing. So I don't have an acquired taste for being a guy that appreciates art, but art is as in like somebody who's painted something abstract or whatever, all the different varieties of art is out there. But what, I do know people that will go and look at art and they're like, the size of the print or the painting that they've done, the colors that they used, you could look really close and see the brush strokes on the canvas, and people get really, really into those details of that. And they can talk for hours about the process of that. Again, I don't understand that, so I can look at a nice picture once it's done, and I'll look at the whole picture, and I can appreciate it. And whatever the images are, they can resonate with me or not. So my thing is hard rock music, and so if anything's related to that, I will probably pay close attention to it. But when Taylor Swift pops across my screen, I tend to swipe that away because it doesn't interest me. So, but either way, I think artists would like the public to pay attention to their work for more than 3 seconds. So what's happening in those 3 seconds? Well, before I forget, so I drew this picture this morning because now this is a picture of my house. We got a 3-car garage, and then we got the front door over here, and we have a big locust tree in the front yard. And so, this looks like maybe Jude drew this, but I drew it. But let's just pretend, the sun's shining. It's a great little quick rendition of my house. I think if I told somebody at the end of the street, I said, here's a picture of my house, and just drive down the street, and when you find the one that looks like that, that's my house, they would probably have success in locating where I live. But pretend this is the and you said you were only a drummer. Well, I do stick figure art pretty well, I guess. So here's my song. Pretend this is my song, and we spent all this time putting it together and all this money, and we want to share it with you. And but we're just going to do this to it. Okay, I did all this work, guys. And I want to share my work with you. And so you're cutting it up, and people are like, that picture of your house I drew, I saw it. It's awesome. Well, this is all that you saw of my drawing, was this 3 seconds of my work. And so that thought popped in my head, like, okay, here's something I drew that I spent all this time doing it. And Mary says I was going to put that on the fridge. Well, you know what? 2 things. We could tape it back together, or I can draw you a new one, babe. But here's my work. This is my work. This is the amount of work I did that people actually paid attention to. David says, an amazing 3 seconds, I will say. Well, here's 3 seconds of my work. And so when people say that, they're like, oh, I really like the colors you used, and I really like the way the fence is, and the way that your vertical strokes are. Gee, thanks. Thanks for participating in my work. Well, so when you start researching how to promote yourself and your music on social media, they say you want to grab people's attention in 3 seconds. How do I do that? These Facebook Lives that I do is generally a good example, and there's other people who do podcasts who are way more refined at this than I am, and they speak clearly, and they don't say so and They're really great about not having the filler words. I am having trouble breaking that habit. One thing that I will say is that when you do a Facebook Live or you create a reel or a story, you have, especially reels and stories, you have a limited amount of time to say anything. So you don't have to say your name, because your name is at the top of the screen, or your band name is at the top of the screen. But I don't get on and say, hey, I'm Fred Fisher, and welcome to Coffee with Fred. Coffee with Fred is in the title. And I make a post every Tuesday morning around 6 o'clock with some coffee mug picture with some drummer-related thing on that to remind people that I'm going to go live at 7 a.m. But when you get on and you start talking right away. I have seen plenty of people who go live, and they sit there and they're not making any sound, and they're partially in frame, or they're messing around and they're looking to see if anybody's joining them yet. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some people to join me before I start talking. And they do that. Any live video I've ever seen where nobody starts doing anything right away, I'm out. Gone. Because nothing is happening. And I might give it a whole minute just because I'm curious as to when the whole thing's going to start. I remember watching a musician who was going live, and they were sitting at their piano, and they got on to go live, and they said, I'm just waiting for people to join before I start. And I could see, there was, 15, 20 people probably watching. And this person's making marks on their paper, not even acknowledging that anybody's checking in with them. And then they said, I've got another live stream going in the other room I'm going to go check on. So what's happening on that other live stream where nobody's even there? I was like, I'm never watching this person again. That's just, I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my 3 seconds on you. So when you go live or you're posting your reel, say something or do something that isn't going to engage with people right away. Now, that doesn't guarantee you're going to hold their attention for 3 seconds, much less an hour, because I typically talk on this show for an hour. And I have regular people that join me for this hour, and I appreciate you, and so thank you for that. But yeah, don't wait for people to get on. There's always the replay, and if they don't start watching from the beginning, they're late to the party, so to speak. The other is talking too fast. Don't get on there and say, hey everybody, I'm Fred Fisher. I'm here to tell you about Coffee with Fred and everything about drum lessons. And the thing about drum lessons is, like, what? I can't even understand what I just said, and I'm the one that said it. It's very difficult. Just say, first, you don't have to say your name. If you're going to say it slow enough. You don't have to go, I'm Fred Fisher, and welcome to Coffee with... not a yawn fest either. You guys may have also clued in that when people want to make an announcement of something that's going on, about what they're doing, they always use the phrase, I'm so excited. Hey guys, Fred Fisher here. Just want to tell you about this new pen that's coming out. I'm so excited that this new pen's going to be sold. You said I'm so excited, but without any excitement whatsoever. And not everything in your world is so exciting. Hey guys, I have this pen. I developed this pen. It writes upside down. I am so excited to share this with you. I can't wait for everybody to have one of these pens in their hands. That's a little more exciting to say than, hey, we're really excited. We're going to be releasing this new song. Don't even say that. Just, hey, Midline's got a new song coming out. It's going to be released on this date. We're looking forward to sharing it with you. It really connects with us on an emotional level, and I think it will with you too. That's a way to say something that's exciting. I bought this exciting new hair clip, It's not exciting. It's just a hair clip. So anyway, like, I'm so excited. Are you really? Because you don't really sound like you're that excited. Let's see what Mr. Greg says here. He says, to be fair, I judge most things in about 3 seconds. Music videos, tacos, ice cream, I know, in 3 seconds. Well, yeah, and there's really nothing that's going to stop that, Greg, because that's the world we live in, the 3-second world. So, you know, we as artists, I know Greg plays in a band and he teaches and he records, and he's in it, as am I. And there's like this emotional connection inside of us to share this joy for music, this love of music. So we want to share that with other people. And it's the world we live in, like I said a moment ago, and we're constantly bombarded relentlessly, and it's never going to stop, of things shoved in our face, of things to look at. The other thing that James and I and Mary had talked about last night was, you know, you can put out this song and people will pay attention to it for 3 seconds, but if you show a video of a cat sliding down a hand railing on a set of stairs, people will watch that over and over and over and over again, and maybe that video's 45 seconds long or a minute. Like, to me, there's some weird little disconnect that you would watch this cat do that over and over again, and then people are going to share that. They're going to send that in Messenger or Instagram messaging or TikTok or whatever. They'll forward that video on of a cat sliding down a handrail, but you put your music out there and people watch it for 3 seconds and you might get a couple shares, but it doesn't just take off like wildfire. So I'm thinking the next midline video will just be cats sliding across ice on a lake to the music of midline. I think that's the answer. I think that's the key. I think that's the way to make it work. Greg says, I feel like being a musician is like being an architect. We want to show off what we made and people look at it and go, cool building. Yeah. You know, for us who make our living is music, you know, we want people to enjoy our work and pay us for our work too. That's not a bad thing. I think there's some weird stigma to being a musician and getting paid. They're like, oh, you don't really love music, do you? You're just in it for the money. Well, you know, the guys that come around in the trucks and pick up my trash, they're in it for the money. I don't look at them and turn my nose up at them. Yeah, they're doing that because they're getting paid. Maybe some of them love doing it too. Steve says, you're onto something with that cat idea. I think I am. Mr. Stone, I know this is a PG platform, but kittens, puppies, and boobs. So, yes. Yes, they do. We'll get naked women holding cats on a frozen lake set to the music of Midline. We'll be well known. I don't know, well known in the light that we would like, but well known nonetheless. Mrs. Fisher is here. She says one thing we touched on is we've seen it all, so just watching another song isn't that interesting, but jump scares, animal videos, crashes are different. Yeah, that's true too. We've seen it all. So there's a local band by the name of Stone Prophet who just put out a new song called Obliteration. And I saw them promoting the release of the song. doing kind of a countdown type thing, which is what Midline did with Ghost and Onward. 7 more days, 6 days, this countdown to this release. So I saw that happening. Then I watched the reels that they had put together with little snip, and I thought it sounded great. I thought the song was pretty dang good. And so I went to iTunes or Apple Music, whatever they call it now. Apple Music is what I use for listening, and just search Stone Prophet, and their song came up, and I put my headphones on and I listened to the whole thing from beginning to end. Just, I wanted to support my friends in that band and listen to their music. I think that Jeremy is a really great vocalist. And I had also filled in with that band several years ago for a show that they were doing. So I just watching their growth as a band and as songwriters, and I think the recording sounds great, and I think the song is very well put together, and it was cool enough that I listened to it 3 times, not just once. 3 times I listened to that song. So it'd be nice, especially if you know somebody, if you know that person personally, like, listen to their work. There's a handful of people that I see them post regularly, and they're not just local. They could be all across the states, and you see that they're doing something. And, a lot of times I know what these people's goals are and what they're trying to achieve. And I like to see the process and the progress of what they're doing. And I think that's really cool. One other thing I would touch on with the social media platforms is that it's an excellent tool for band marketing and promotion, and it is evolving and changing all the time how the algorithms work and things of that nature. And don't be scared of it. There's a lot of YouTube video tutorials that you can watch on how to put posts together and promotional materials and reels and stories, and it'll walk you step by step the process of doing it. You just have to be willing to learn. That's the biggest thing. I gotta learn this stuff. I gotta learn how to I gotta watch a video. That video's 12 minutes. I have 12 minutes? Probably not. I'm gonna sit here and watch 3-second videos for the next 2 hours. Really? You could have watched your 8-minute video on how to post great content to help move your ideas and your dreams forward. That's as simple as that goes. I see plenty of stuff that bothers me. No surprise there. I think I'm onto something, like Steve said, involving cats in the video. I think that, there's many of us who are probably aware of or remember the band Zex, X-E-X. They put out, I can't remember the name of the song because it's been a while since I've watched it, but it's Brian and Pete and Alfred had this 3-piece metal band called Zex, and just really over the top playing and overplaying and things like that. And that was their whole thing, was to do that. But they put a video out where they're vacuuming the carpet, they're doing the dishes, they're cleaning up the yard. It is probably one of my most favorite videos out there that was put out by a local Treasure Valley band. Man, I would like to, if I could find that or think of it off the top of my head. You should check it out. But I'm sure you could YouTube Zex, X-E-X, and find that video pretty easily. I don't think they have a lot of videos, so, but it's a music video, and they're doing household chores in it, and it's awesome. Especially if you know those guys. So check that out. Let's see. I miss. Joffrey says they were so fun to watch at Rock the Mountain. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. They are. I think at first listen or glance, you would think they're just kind of silly, which they are, but they're very talented in the way that they do it. So it's good stuff. Let's see. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? Let's see. Blah blah blah. Sorry, folks. I'm just kind of scrolling back through here. Let's see if I missed. Dylan says dynamics playing to the room and control with cymbals. I've played with drummers that have it and some that don't. What is it? What is your approach for it, homie? Well, I will answer that question possibly next week. Yeah, just to touch off that though really fast on playing to a room. This is something that is a frequent thing, playing with Cliff Miller, playing smaller venues and rooms where we want to have really great sound and we don't want to blast people out of the venue at the same time. So being aware of that and making whatever adjustments necessary to do that. Drums are typically probably the loudest thing to compete with in the context of playing live. So there's a discipline and responsibility that falls on the drummer to be able to provide something the rest of the band can build around that still sounds great. So yeah, I could dive deep into that for you. That would be great. That's a great subject. So there's my 2 cents. Anybody else have any thing they want to add to that? My hair is looks like I've been sleeping, which I was. As I get older, I have more and more forehead, which is crazy. I'm probably one of those people that will eventually be bald. Which I think I have a good looking melon and I think that would work out for me. So there we go.